Shalom, shalom. This is Eldayo from One Nation, One Power. Coming back to my brothers and my sisters one more time. I want to bring some understanding to you today, brothers and sisters, because there are some things about to happen in the earth that a lot of us are not ready for. But I'm going to bring forth some scriptures to you today to maybe open up your spiritual understanding as to what's going on in the heavens. Remember, don't believe nothing I say. Get your Bible, get your pen, and get your paper, because you are about to see some things in your Bible that has been hidden for a long time. And then those brothers that do try to bring out this information, they charge for it. But I'm not charging anything. The Most High says freely, I've given you freely, how you shall receive. So this is Eldayo coming back to bring you some information out of your Bible that I know you may have never seen before, but you will today. So get your pencil and get your paper, brothers and sisters. Let's go on a quick ride. You may not need a seatbelt for this one, but then again, you just might. Go with me first to Psalms. We're going to start in the book of Psalms. We're going to hit Exodus. We're going to hit Ezekiel. We're going to hit Zechariah. We're going to get down and we're going to get dirty. Come on up out of here. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Let's go to the book of Psalms. Psalms 105. Go with me to Psalms 105. Psalms 105. Psalms 105. Psalms 105 and 39. We're talking about the Most High. How does he travel? How can you identify him? Let's get into our word today, and let's get an understanding, a spiritual understanding of the Most High. So Psalms 105 and 39. And it reads, he spread a cloud for a covering. He spread a cloud for a covering. He spread a cloud for a covering. I'm going to say that one more time. He spread a cloud for a covering. Now you got to use your imagination. Come on up out of here. Now, if he spreads a cloud for a covering, that means that there is an object in the sky that needs a cloud for it to hide in. Come on up out of here. I'm going to break this down for you today. Psalms 105 and 39. He spread a cloud for a covering and fire to give light in the night. He spreads a cloud for a covering. Now, some of you out there may have house coats. When you get up in the morning, you cover yourself with the house coat, but you inside of the house coat. That's what this verse is saying. He, the Most High, uses the clouds to cover himself. So he's inside of the cloud. That's what Psalms 105 and 39 just let me know and let you know. That he uses the cloud for a covering. Now I want you to keep that in your mind. He uses the cloud for a covering, meaning he's on the inside of the cloud. Let's keep going. Go to Psalms 104. Psalms 104. Psalms 104. Hey, Isaac, come here right fast. Psalms 104. Give me this flashlight right here, son. Give me this flashlight. Thank you. Psalms 104. Psalms 104. I'm going to give a demonstration of what this one's saying. Psalms 104 and 3. Remember, he uses the clouds as a cover. Psalms 104 and 3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the water, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Now let's break down Psalms 104:3. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters. That means, and it talks about a chariot right here. That means when this particular craft goes over the waters, it's got a light like a beam. I want you to see my hand. It's light, it's like a beam over the waters. Let's read it again. Who layeth the beams, this is a beam, who layeth the beams, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters. Beam me up, Scotty. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the water. This is when he's passing over the waters. There's a beam that shines on it, because it's light emanating from the bottom of it, like that. See that? That's light hitting that water. I want you to see that. Who layeth the beams. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. Remember, he used the clouds for a covering? Now this verse is breaking down that there is a chariot in the clouds. The clouds are going to move with the ship. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. I want you to see that take these glasses is the ship, but it's covered with a cloud. But as the ship moves, the cloud moves. We talking about the Most High. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters. Who maketh the clouds his chariot. Who walketh upon the wings of the wind. 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 Do the wind have wings? No. So how is it walking in the wind? It's flying. If it's in the wind, it's in the air. It's flying. We, brothers and sisters, have been so disconnected from our God, we don't even know how he traveled or how the angels travel. And it's being done on purpose, but we getting back to it. Who layeth the beams of his chambers in the water, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. Today they call this a UFO, but they not unidentified. The Bible tells you they are identified and that they've been around from the beginning. And we're going to prove it according to the Bible. Don't believe nothing I say? Let's go for a ride. Go to Isaiah 60:8. Isaiah 60:8. Now, when the carnal minded read these verses, they can't see what the spiritual minded can see in these verses. Let's keep going. Isaiah 60:8. Who are these that fly as a cloud? Who are these that fly as a cloud? Who are these that fly as a cloud? And as the doves to their windows. And as the doves to their windows. Now I told you have to use your imagination. Have you ever seen a dove fly by? If he don't make that noise, some of the times you won't even know a dove went by. If he's already flapped his wings and he in that coast mode, he go by and is silent. The Bible says, who are these that fly as a cloud? Flying as a cloud. Now it's telling you that these are ships that's flying, but they flying like a cloud. Can you hear a cloud when it go over? If you don't look up, you won't even know the clouds are there. Some of us need to spend a little bit more time when we in the world looking up. And stop looking on the ground. Hold your head up. For our redemption draweth nigh. We don't walk around, children of the light don't walk around with their head down in the ground, looking for pennies and nickels. They walk with their heads up, held high, like royalty. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows? Who are these that's flying like clouds? Silent. Stealth mode. You see them moving, but you don't hear no sound. Once again, we bringing forth the Most High, the God that we say we serve and love. We trying to get an intimate idea of our God. He's not a rock. He's not a stone. He's not a picture. He's letting you and me know he's supernatural. And he has technology that this earth has never seen. Now remember, he uses the clouds as a covering. Come on out of here. Now, go to the book of Exodus. Let's go to Exodus. Because if we don't get these passages of scripture down packed first, and then we start to read this stuff over in the book of Exodus, we don't have a clue what it's talking about. You got to start in Psalms and get the basics of he uses the cloud for a covering. He walks up on the wind as a cloud. He's flying like a dove, silent. Exodus chapter 24. We're going to start at verse 15. Exodus 24 and 15. Now we understand that there is something in the cloud. We're going to go into our Bible and we're going to show you what's in the cloud. It don't have to be in the cloud, but that's how the Most High does it. Why? I still don't know why he hide in the cloud. But he know why. Maybe if we see it, we'll be so terrified we drop dead. Exodus 24, maybe he's shielding us from outright unbelief and terror. Exodus 24, starting at verse 15. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And a cloud covered the mount. Now you got to know Psalms 105:39, Psalms 104 and 3. And Isaiah 60 and 8. Something's in the cloud. This is not just a cloud. Moses went up on the mount because the cloud was covering the top of the mount. Verse 16. And the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai. We know this ain't talking about no cloud, brothers and sisters. His glory now is sitting on the mount. And the cloud covered it 6 days. And the cloud covered it 6 days. The glory of the Most High is sitting on top of this mount. And the cloud was covering it for 6 days. Remember we just read over in Psalms 104 and 3, 105 and 39 that he uses the cloud as a covering. Now this is telling you that the cloud sat there on that mountain for 6 days. Why? Because whatever's inside of that cloud is sitting there. He's using that cloud as a covering. So the cloud gotta stay there. The cloud's sitting there 6 days. Most High, I'm gonna go and break it down for you. Most High landed on top of this mountain. And the cloud is sitting there with him while he's sitting there for 6 days. Let's keep reading. And the 7th day, he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the 7th day, he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the 7th day, he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. I'm kind of curious. Why did the Most High sit there for 6 days and didn't say nothing to Moses until the Sabbath day? Boy, I can break this. Can I break this down for you? 6 days the Most High sat here on top of this mountain. And he didn't speak until the 7th day. He didn't speak until the 7th day. Not the 1st day. Not the 2nd day. Not the 3rd day. Not the 4th day. Not the 5th day. Neither the 6th day. This is prophetic. The Most High didn't speak until the 7th day. So if you go into church on the 1st day, then and trying to get a word from the Most High, he says, I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever, and I change not. He's letting me and you know that he's only going to speak on the seventh day. He sat silent for 6 days. Come on up out of here. So let's continue. Verse 17. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire. Was like what? Devouring fire. Let's read this again. And the sight of the glory of the Lord. They breaking down what his glory looked like. His glory looked like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. In the eyes of the children of Israel, it looked like devouring fire. But it didn't look like that to Moses did. But to the children of Israel, it looked like devouring fire. Why? Hebrews 12 and 29, our God is a consuming fire. Now, if we continue to understand the Bible in the Old Testament, wasn't it a cloud by day and a fire by night that followed the children of Israel? A cloud by day and a fire by night? What was inside of that cloud, brothers and sisters? It wasn't, the cloud is the covering. You with me? Stay with me. The cloud is the covering. Verse 17, and the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. Verse 18, and Moses went into the midst of the cloud. And Moses went into the middle of the cloud. And Moses went up into the middle of the cloud and got him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. What was Moses in for 40 days and 40 nights? Was he just sitting inside of a puffy cream cloud? He maketh the clouds his covering. The glory of the Lord was like consuming fire. When you go over into the book of Daniel and you read the book of Daniel, it begins to break down and tell you that he sits on a throne of what? Fire. Fire. Let's continue. Now, it wasn't just no cloud sitting there, brothers and sisters. Now we're going to get into our Bible, because now I want to know, how did those objects look that was in those clouds? How those objects look that was in those clouds? Let's go to Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah. Now remember, we're dealing with an object that's inside of them clouds. Let's go to Zechariah. Zechariah chapter 5. We got to read a little. But now I'm curious. I want to know what's in the cloud. I don't know about you guys out there. I want to know what's in the cloud. What's the shape of those objects that's in the cloud? Let's go. Zechariah chapter 5, and let's look at verse 1. Then I turned. Then I turned. You gotta forgive me. The Most High been having a spirit of joy upon me the last couple of days, and I'm thankful for it. Boy, I'm just a clown I can be. Zechariah 5 and 1. Then I turned. And I lifted up mine eyes. So he turned and he lifted up his eyes. He turned and he lifted up his eyes. What you looking at? Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. A flying roll. Now this object, the Most High is showing to Zechariah, and guess what? He didn't put the cloud on it. Can you imagine a baby Christian looking up and seeing what the next thing they're going to turn? He's going to say, I turned, I lifted up mine eyes, and I seen a flying roll, and that's all I remember because I fainted. I turned, I looked, I lifted up mine eyes, and I passed the hell out. That's what's going to happen. because some of you don't believe that these objects actually exist, but the Most High is having me do this video being led of the Holy Spirit to bring this to your attention now. Because if you don't understand this now, when you see the fake glory of the fake chariots of Hashatan, Satan, the devil, the pimp master of the earth, the deceiver of the earth, who comes to steal, kill, and destroy, he said he's going to be like God. That means he's coming in ships. And if you don't know that the Most High got these already, and that your government have copied them because Satan was cast to the earth, and he gave them the technology to make them, because he know a war is coming, and he got to be mano y mano. He got to try something. He can't try to fight this object with a tank. Let's keep going. Zechariah chapter 5 and verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eye and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, who said unto me? The Most High said unto me, what seest thou? Now, if the Most High didn't want you to know about flying objects, why did he put this in the Bible? And then he turned around and asked Zechariah, what you see? He said, what you see? Zechariah turned, looked, lifted up his eyes, said, I see a flying roll. What the heck? What? And then the Most High said, what you see? He said, what you see? What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. See, this is the Bible, but can you imagine what he's saying? This is a brother. What the heck? I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Now, I ain't going to get involved in the cubits and all of that, because I know how man is. But it's a flying roll. That's the topic we want. Zechariah seen it with his own two eyes, flying like a dove in the midst of the heavens. Are you with me? Stay with me. Stay with me. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Now we dealing. Now we got it. We got a picture of this one. This is a flying roll. Now go to the book of Ezekiel. Go to the book of Ezekiel. This one is like a cigar. It's a flying roll. It's looking like a cigar. It's in this shape. A flying roll. And they got pictures on the internet. They seeing them out there in the space right now. They seeing that one right there. That's in your Bible. And then when people see it, I don't believe that. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that, this disbelief. Because you think that's something new? We're going to hit the book of Job and let Job tell you about the innocent. But we're dealing with those that are on strong meat, able to discern right from wrong, good from evil. We're not dealing with babies with this. You're going to be having to revive the babies when they see these ships. You're going to have to throw cold water on them, slap them around. Come on up out of here. We're in Ezekiel chapter 1. We're in Ezekiel chapter 1. And we got one that's looking like a roll. Flying. A flying roll. It ain't just sitting. He said a flying roll. Can you imagine it's silent? It's like a dove going by. Most High took the covering off because he wanted our ancestors to see it. But Moses already knew it. Our ancestors already knew it. When they came out of Egypt, there was a cloud by day and a fire by night leading them. They knew what was inside of that cloud. They had the knowledge at that time. But that's why we living in Babylon, because of the disobedience of our ancestors. All of this knowledge was taken. So you see people on the internet with the Sumerian scrolls and this and that, and they trying to act like that's something new. Oh, look what the Egyptians had on the Egyptians' wall. Look at that ship. I just showed you the ship over in the book of Exodus. We can go to the book of Genesis. The Most High always have traveled in the clouds. But right here, he just took the cloud off. So now we can get an understanding that one of them is in the shape of a flying robe. Now let's go over into Ezekiel chapter 1. Don't believe nothing I say. Let's go. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 16. No, we'll start at verse 15. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his four faces. Verse 16. The appearance of the wheels. See that? The appearance of the wheels. The appearance of the wheels. The appearance, now you got to use your imagination because I don't have a wheel right here with me. You got to now imagine a bicycle wheel, say a dirt bike bicycle wheel. The back tire. It's a wheel. He said now you see a wheel. Imagine taking that back tire off the back of that dirt bike. I'm talking about a little kid's dirt bike. Take it off. Flip it up like this on its top. Hold the middle part. Where the chain goes around, where the chain goes on the, I can't remember, the hub in the middle of the wheel, that's a wheel. And then on the out, you got the spokes. And then on the outside, you got the rim and another wheel. So he said, I see a wheel. So now he see a wheel. A wheel turns. He couldn't have called it a wheel if it wasn't turning. He see a wheel. Let's keep reading. We're in verse 16. The appearance of the wheels got an S on the end. And their work was like unto the color of beryl. And they four had one likeness. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. A wheel in the middle of a wheel. A wheel in the middle of a wheel. That's that bicycle back rim that I just told you to take off that little kid's dirt bike. Flip it up. Hold the middle of it like this. Right here is the sprocket, the little sprocket, where the chain goes. That sits by itself in the spokes, but there's another rim on the outside with the tire on it. You can spin it like that. That's what, something like what Ezekiel's saying he see. A wheel in the middle of another wheel. And the wheel is spinning. Now the Most High showing Ezekiel his chariots. He's showing Ezekiel the chariot. I see a wheel in the middle of a wheel. And it's what? It's got to be spinning because wheels spin. I see a wheel in the middle of the wheel. Verse 17. When they went upon the four sides, and they turned not when they went. And they turned not when they went. They went one direction. And as for their wings, they were so high that they were dreadful. That they were dreadful. And their rings were full of eyes round and about them. And their rings, and their rings, and their rings. Remember the wheel in the middle of the wheel? Now it's got rings. He says, I'm going to break it down for you. Verse 18. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful. Remember I told you, if you don't get this knowledge now, if you see something in the sky flying that's dreadful, the next thing you're going to remember, you waking up off the ground. So the Most High is using me right now to break down that disbelief and unbelief of flying objects and showing you in the Bible. He said that their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful. And their rings were full of eyes round and about them. Are these actual eyes? Are these actual windows? Little circles all the way around it. Little circles all the way around it. He called them eyes. Now imagine a ship with a wheel in the middle of a wheel with rings, and It's got windows, little circles all the way around it. And he can only describe them as eyeballs. That's what he's doing. These are not actual eyeballs. These are little round circles all the way around it, and he described them as eyes. So the Most High is showing Ezekiel a different type of flying object than he did Zechariah. He showed Zechariah the flying scroll or roll. And now he's showing Ezekiel the wheel in the middle of the wheel. And neither one of them at this time have a covering on. The Most High is letting them see them with their own two eyes. Are you with me? Let's continue. Let's keep going. Now, is it anywhere in the Bible, but with this information, is it anywhere in the Bible where we can go and read where some of our ancestors or some of the people, the new generation didn't believe this? It should be in the Bible, shouldn't it? Go with me to Job chapter 22. Go with me to Job chapter 22. I love the book of Job because it's full of wisdom. You can find anything you need to know in the book of Job if you read it under the Holy Spirit. Job chapter 22. We'll start at verse 12. Job chapter 22, verse 12. Now, the ancients had this knowledge. The younger generations didn't have this knowledge because they wasn't living right to acquire this knowledge. The Most High had turned his back on his people and not the face. When he turned his back on our people, he did more than just turn his back on us. He removed the hedge of protection. That cloud by day and fire by night that led our ancestors out of Egypt was the protection. He removed that. No, you guys hearing me? He removed the supernatural superpower of the roll and the wheel in the middle of the wheel. You better come on up out of here. We still to this day haven't been able to digest who we are and who our God is. When you go over into your Old Testament and read, the Most High says in the book of Deuteronomy, for what nation is there on earth, what nation is there so great that hath God so nigh unto them? When you read your Old Testament, when the glory of the Most High sat on the tabernacle, our God was here on the earth with us in the form of angels protecting us. Jacob looked up. Joshua looked up. They all had encounters with angels. We were the superpower on the earth when we kept the law, statutes, and the commandments. No nation could fight against us, though they tried. When the Philistines took the Ark of the Covenant and took it into the house and put it next to Dagon, they got up the next day and Dagon was knocked the hell out, laying on the ground with his head and his hands broke off. Our God was with us. We lost that. But the good news is that all of this information is coming back. Now, let's go to the book of Job, chapter 22, and let's see if there's a conversation about this very topic in our Bible. Job chapter 22. Don't believe nothing I say. Get your Bible, get your pen, get your paper, and go with me. Job chapter 22. We'll start at verse 12. Verse 12. Is not God in the height of heaven? Is not the Most High in the heights of the heavens? And behold, the height of the stars. Is he not up there with the height of the stars? So when you see these videos coming out on the internet with flying rolls that we just described in the Bible, in the heavens, Job telling you, that's where he at. Those are our ships. That is our God. It is not Satan. Hello. He got ships, but they're not made like these, baby. You got the roll. Then you got the wheel in the middle of the wheel. I want to see them make one of those. They got flying objects. Our government, because the Bible tells you they make them in the land of Shinar, and they sitting there on their base, but they made out of lead. But let me see one. I want to see our government make one that can be a wheel in the middle of the wheel, meaning that baby's spinning while it's in the air. It's spinning. You got a centerpiece that's sitting there. That must be where the angels hanging out, having, you know what I'm saying, little heavenly hors d'oeuvres, and the outside is spinning. High technology. Now, verse 12, is not the Most High in the height of heaven? Question mark. He asking you a question. Oh my goodness. I can go all day long on this. Is not God in the height of heaven? Sorry. He's not in the Baptist church. He's not in the Methodist church. He's not hanging out at the Presbyterian church. He is in the heights of the heavens. Read your Bible, folks, and stop letting these people make you believe that God is in your Sunday church. He never told you that, did he? Man told you that. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold, the height of the stars. How high they are. How high they are. How high they are. Let's keep reading. And thou sayest, how doth God know? Can he judge through the dark cloud? Can he judge through the dark cloud? Look at Job's wisdom. He's talking to a people that know that the Most High operates in the cloud and the dark cloud. And now they are so smart that they don't believe that God can see through the dark cloud. They know it's his covering because they know the word. They know it's his covering. And now they're asking the question, can he see through that dark cloud? I'm thinking I'm going to go sin this weekend. I don't know. I don't think God can see me. We still got that mentality today. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from God, for their works are in the dark. Same principle. Can he see out of that dark cloud? Let's look at verse 14. Thick clouds are a covering to him. This is Job chapter 22 and verse 14. Job is putting high wisdom upon me and you. He's backing up Psalms 104 and 3, Psalms 105 and 39. He's telling us all over again, thick clouds are a covering to him, that he seeth not. And he walketh in the circuit of the heavens. He walketh in the circuit of the heaven. In the heaven. He walketh in the circuit of the heaven. How is he walking in the circuit of the heaven? In the flying roll and in the wheel of the middle of the wheel. Like doves flying to their windows in complete silence. Some of them with coverings of clouds over them. But if he chooses to, he can reveal it to you without the cloud. But you cannot look at it and pass out. I didn't believe that this stuff existed. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Let's read verse 14 and 15 together. Thick clouds are a covering to him, that he seeth not, and he walketh in the circuit of heaven. Hast thou marked the old way? Hast thou marked the old way, which wicked men have trodden? Which wicked men have trodden? What you talking about, Job? Have you marked the old way which wicked men have trodden? Let's keep reading. Which were cut down out of time, whose foundation was overflown with the flood, whose foundation was overflowed with the flood. Wicked men is talking about during the flood. Job telling them, have you marked you remember the old way? God killed everybody on the earth. And you asking me, can he see out of that cloud? You asking me, can he see through the thick, dark cloud that's his covering, and his chariot is on the inside of it? That because it's covered with a big, thick, dark cloud that he can't see? Well, what happened to all them people during the flood? If he can't see, why did he kill all earth? I'm breaking this down to you to this lowest denominator. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Verse 17. This is going to get deep. You got to listen. Verse 17. Look at it with your own two eyes. King James Version Bible. King James Version Bible. If you got any other version, it's going to take away from all of this information because they don't want us to know that our God travels in the circuits of the heavens, in the roll and in the wheel of the middle of the wheel. Which said unto God, depart from us. He's telling you what they said before the flood. Which said unto God, depart from us. And what can the Almighty do for them? Verse 18. Yet he filled their houses with good things, but the counsel of the wicked is far from me. Verse 19. The righteous see it. The righteous see it. What I'm showing you right now, Job saying, the righteous see it. The righteous can understand the road. The righteous can understand the wheel in the middle of the wheel. The righteous can understand that he operates with a covering of a cloud. The righteous can understand that he travels like doves. The righteous can understand. The righteous see it and are glad. And the innocent, and the innocent, and the innocent, and the babies, and those without understanding, and those that don't know Zechariah, and those that don't know Ezekiel, and those that are carnally minded, and those that have never seen anything in the sky in their life other than a 747 jet and a Cessna and a helicopter, and the righteous see it and are glad, and the innocent laugh them to scorn, and the innocent laugh them to scorn, and the innocent laugh them to scorn. This is Job 22 and 19. Let me break down the verse 19 for you. And the innocent laugh them to scorn. He believed in flying objects. He believed God got a thick, dark covering and he operates in the roll and in the wheel in the middle of the wheel. The innocent laughed them to scorn. What? You seen a flying object? He crazy. She crazy. Oh, they crazy. Oh, they crazy. Yeah. The innocent laughed them to scorn. This is what we dealing with right now on the earth in the Israelite movement. Some of us have knowledge of these chariots, and some of us do not have knowledge of these chariots. Now I'm gonna shorten this video. I'm gonna go right fast over into the book of Acts, and then we're gonna come back to the book of Daniel, because now we got a deeper understanding of that there is an object inside of the cloud. It's not just a cloud that look like a marshmallow. There is objects in the cloud. The cloud is the covering for the ship. Let me just break it down for you. The cloud is the covering for the supernatural ship. Now, go with me to the book of Acts. Let's see if any of this has happened in the book of Acts, because you got to know the Old Testament. I'm sick and tired of hearing brothers saying, Torah, Torah, the law, the law. It's more history of the children of Israel in the Torah than in the whole Bible. So I asked them, give me some prophecies out of Torah, and they can't. Because the Most High not dealing with them. He's not showing them the Torah. Because all they're looking at is the laws, not realizing that it's full of prophecies. Now, let's hit Acts chapter 1. Start at verse 6. Acts 1 and 6. Look at it with your own two eyes. Don't believe me. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, I'm just going to read it like it said. Wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? Verse 7. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father had put in his own power. Verse 8. But you shall receive power. After that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and you shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea, and in Samaria, and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. Verse 9 is what we want. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. This is Acts 1 and 9. He was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. He was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. Now we understand, after what we just read in the Bible, that this cloud is a chariot. It's not an actual cloud. The cloud is just the covering for the chariot. Now, while Christ was taken up in this cloud, let's go to Daniel chapter 7 and see where this cloud took him. Let's see where this chariot that was in this cloud took him. Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. Daniel 7 and 13. Let's go. Don't believe nothing I say. Let's go. And I saw in the night visions, Daniel saying, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds, came with the clouds, came with the clouds. He didn't come on a cloud. He came with the clouds. He came with the clouds. He came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Now, Daniel 7 and 13 and 14 is also ammunition for you to prove that Yeshua the Christ is not God. There you go, right there. So he came with the clouds. Now go back with me to the book of Exodus right fast. Go back with me to the book of Exodus chapter 14. Exodus chapter 14. Now we got an understanding that these are chariots operating inside of the clouds. Exodus chapter, what did I say? Chapter 14. Exodus chapter 14. Let's go. Exodus chapter 14. We'll start at verse 15. And the Lord said unto Moses, wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward, that they go forward, that they go forward, that they go forward, and not backwards, that they go forward. That's a prophetic word in itself. Keep going forward. Don't let yourself go backwards. Verse 16. But lift thou up thy rod and stretch out thy hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. Verse 17. And I beheld, and I hardened the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. Verse 18. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. Verse 19. And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them, and the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went behind them. This is a chariot in the cloud. Verse 20. And it came to pass. And it came. Talking about the chariot. Is verse 20. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. This chariot in the cloud is now sitting in the air between the Egyptians and the children of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these. So on one side, it was a cloud and thick darkness to the Egyptians, but on the other side, it was giving light to the children of Israel. How is that possible? Easy. If the ship is sitting in the sky, half of the ship lights was in darkness, and the other half of the ship lights was lit up. The side that the children of Israel was on, the Most High was beaming down light. On the side where the Egyptians was on, the Most High kept the lights off in the ship, and they was in outer darkness. You better come on up out of here. So what's coming for us? We got a supernatural army that we don't even know about. We don't even consider it. Job said that the innocent, the babies among us, they laugh us to scorn. Job chapter 22, verse 12 to 19, verse 19 in particular. Job said the innocent, when we tell him about the chariot, when we tell him about the thick cloud is his covering, when we tell him that he setteth his beams in the waters, when we tell him all of this, when we tell him he got a flying robe, when we tell him he got a wheel in the middle of a wheel, the innocent, oh, they crazy, oh, they don't know what they talking about. The innocent are going to be the ones that faint. The innocent are going to be the ones that's going to pass the hell out because of their disbelief. That when they see these objects that's coming, real and fake, you got a fake invasion coming. When they see these objects that they thought on Star Trek was just a movie, that when they see the Avengers and them ships, when they see all of this, that they putting in your face, and you think it's because they putting it in your face, they using psychological warfare on you to make you think that's just it's disbelief. That's man. Oh, that's fake. Oh yeah. Oh baby, it's coming. Get your mind and your spirit ready. What you've been seeing in the movies, Independence Day, is not what you think. But they did in Independence Day at least back up the Bible. When the ship came in the cloud, they seen the cloud first, and then the ship came out from under the cloud. That's your Bible, folks. It's a shame that the wicked are more wiser than the children of the kingdom. This elder I yield for One Nation, One Power. Prepare your mind, prepare your body and your soul, because your eyes are about to see things that your natural mind will cause you to faint, pass out, and lose your understanding of reality. Shalom.
Our Redeemer is strong, Lord, our host is his name. All hail the King, all hail.